Well, joining the Dave's Home Supply Getting Up to Speed program, a driver from Grants, New Mexico, it's Jesse Baker talking about his 2023 season, his involvement with the POWRi Desert Wing Sprint Car Series, and the expansion that they hope to do next year with that group, and much more. That's coming up next after these messages. Dave's Home Supply specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. On the Dave's Home Supply Getting Up to Speed, we've got a guest from Grants, New Mexico, Jesse Baker, who drives the number 22, a Wing 360, as well as a Wing 305 car, representing the state of New Mexico. First of all, Jesse, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're the first guy from New Mexico on the program, so slowly but surely expanding this deal, not just on the West Coast, but getting the Midwest and now a little bit more of the American Southwest in there.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that.
So Grants, New Mexico, I was looking at it on the map. It's on I-40 west of Albuquerque by what, an hour or so, or maybe less than that?
Yeah, we're about 80 miles west of Albuquerque.
Okay. And then I mentioned you split duty between 305s and 360s, predominantly wing. And the main place doing research on you that you guys frequent is Vado Speedway Park, which is on the southern part of the state. So you guys got a little bit of travel to do to get down there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a travel. It's about 4.5 hours for us. So it's not too bad. We're sort of used to it because, I mean, being from Grants, I mean, we have a home track, but the track basically just runs like stock cars and modifies and stuff like that. So my dad and I were used to traveling, so it's kind of no big deal.
Sure. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was on my list. Sandia Speedway in the Albuquerque area. Occasionally we'll host like the New Mexico Motorsports Racing Association or some Wing 360 stuff every now and then.
Yeah, they do. And, you know, we used to go over there quite a bit. Back probably, 10, 12 years ago, both me and my dad were running, and we did a lot of non-wing back then. And then I actually drove for Bill and Debbie Richards for about 3 or 4 years, and we ran there quite a bit. But me and my dad just decided back in like 2013, 14, you know, that we wanted to start venturing off and going to Phoenix. The ASCS Southwest series was pretty good back then. And, you know, I kind of wanted to start going over there and get back into the wing. I've always liked wing a little bit better. But yeah, so when we did that, my dad quit racing for the most part because running one car is hard enough, let alone two. And then me and Bill and Debbie just sort of went our separate ways. And yeah, we ran the ASCS Southwest series for about 4 or 5 years. And it was good. It was a lot of traveling. Gosh, it was a lot of traveling, but no, it was cool. I liked it.
And there's a rich history of sprint car racing in the state of New Mexico. Obviously, Vado Speedway Park is kind of the crown jewel in the south part of the state, and in the northwest pocket, so to speak, you've got Aztec and of course the aforementioned Sandy. But you kind of go back and what was it? Duke City Speedway, which was that was Albuquerque area, and then Hollywood Hills, which was San Felipe Pueblo, which those two tracks hosted some big shows back in the day.
Yes, they both did. Duke City was around for quite a while. And yeah, there was a lot of big races over there at times. And then, like you mentioned, the Hollywood Hills Speedway, great facility. I mean, state of the art actually. And it just ended up not working out, and that's actually not even there no more. They took everything down. You can't even tell it's even there anymore, which is pretty sad because, I mean, like I say, it was a great place. The track was pretty good. The pits were all asphalt paved. I mean, it was a great place, but it just didn't work out. So
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, and then Vado Speedway Park is kind of the successor to Southern New Mexico Speedway, which that facility hosted some national sprint tour races back in 2006. ASCS National Tour went there a lot. And it was kind of a fusing of the combination of Southern New Mexico Speedway in Las Cruces and El Paso Speedway Park in Western Texas, and that's sort of the birth, the genesis of Vado.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of racing at Southern New Mexico Speedway, and a lot of racing in El Paso. We used to do both wing and non-wing over there at times, and both great places, both totally different racetracks. But El Paso, I think, sort of like any other racetrack that gets shut down for the most part. Just a lot of development around there, houses and stuff like that. So, I think they were running into problems with that. So El Paso just became no more. And then Southern New Mexico Speedway was at the like on a rodeo ground that's owned by the state, I believe. And Royal Jones, he I think wanted to get away from that and build his own racetrack, and which is Vado Speedway Park. And I mean, that place it's very, very beautiful facility. I mean, from the from the general parking, I mean, it's all paved. Everything is paved up there. The concourse is all concrete. I mean, you don't walk through no dirt, no nothing. It's not your typical dirt track, let's put it that way. So, I mean, that place it's phenomenal.
Well, and your year so far has been pretty good as well. You got to win at Vado April 1st in the 305 series that they run there. 4 podiums this year, 8 top 5s, 16 top 10s, and 17 starts. Only finished outside the top 10 once this year. That's pretty good. That's pretty admirable.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, naturally, you always want to win more. And then that win that we got was our first race of the season with the 305. And naturally, when you win, you come out with a win right off the bat. You're like, oh man, this year is going to be great. But just with the 305, kind of sort of been hit and miss. We've still been trying to learn a little bit with a 305, because I typically run 360, and 305 is a lot different for me than a 360. And I was trying to basically do the same setups with a 305 as I was a 360, and it just didn't quite work for me. So we've struggled a little bit this year with 305. Was hoping to get a lot more wins, but I mean, we've been consistent, so it hasn't been totally bad, but yeah, you always want to do better.
Well, yeah, it's excellent that you bring up that point, because I was talking with one of my friends that has recently gotten a 360s from 305s, and he said the same thing. We're talking about Kyle Rasmussen from Clovis, California, and he was talking in regards of that you have to set it up differently because going different speed, and so the wing speed's going different. I mean, is that sort of been challenges for you, similar to him, except in the opposite way, I suppose?
Yeah, exactly. Bringing up wing speed, yeah. I mean, the car you learn, I guess, that the car just doesn't react the same when you don't have quite the wing speed with the 305. So, we've tried all kinds of different stuff. And actually, the last 2 races, we did a little bit different stuff with our torsion bars. And I think the last 2 races with 305, we've been great. We haven't had the finish to show it, but as a matter of fact, this last Saturday, we were the fastest car in the main event, but in the heat race, we stripped out a cam spud, and so that killed us not finishing the heat race. So we ended up having to start 7th. And I mean, with a 305, it's kind of, I refer to it as sort of like go-kart racing. I mean, everybody's sort of the same speed. Everybody's kind of, real close in horsepower, and, you just try to keep your momentum up with a 305 as best as you can. And, it's tough. Cause like I say, everybody's so close on speed and horsepower. It's hard to, make up any positions or anything like that, because, the competition down there at Votto with the 305 it's pretty tough. So yeah, you got to try to start up in the main event as high up as you can. And that's been a lot of my year. It seems like just heat races haven't gone my way and stuff like that with the 305. And then, you're kind of stuck back there, and it's tough, but it's fun. I like it. It gets a little aggravating at times. I'm like, gosh, I wish I was in 360, but
sure.
No, we'll keep plugging away at it, and, hopefully it gets better. So I'm actually looking forward to the last weekend of the 305. So.
Well, and you bring up a great point, because I was going to say that for folks that are unfamiliar with the Vado Speedway Park 305 program, there's some tough cookies in there. You've got the Wofford family, who's had a lot of success at that racetrack. Rick Zeal, who is like Mr. ASCS South, he won like every single series championship and then some. Until a few years ago, till Colton Hardy kind of broke that streak. So you're not going up against a bunch of washed up has-beens or anything by any means. You're going up against guys that still race 360 stuff too, similar to on the similar schedule program as you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you mentioned Lauren, and then his son Wes, and his other son Vance had been down there racing with us for the last, gosh, how long has Vance been racing now? About 5 or 6 years, it seems like, 7 years. He currently just moved to Phoenix, but I mean, Vance was very fast also. And then, you mentioned Rick. Rick is fast. Royal is fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, Royal Jones, the emperor of the Southern New Mexico, also participates.
Yeah, he better be fast since that's his racetrack. But no, I'm just joking. But yeah, man, it just seems like, everybody's got good cars. Everybody's got good motors. We're all on the same stuff, it seems like. So, yeah, it's that 305 stuff is definitely, it's tough for sure.
Well, you're currently 4th in points, as you mentioned. The last weekend for you guys isn't till November 17th and 18th, so it's a bit of time, and then in between now and then, not really any racing for you. Is that kind of where it's looking at right now?
Yeah, there's no racing for me as of right now until then. So hopefully, as a matter of fact, I was just working on the car today, getting it washed, and going to start going through everything, taking out bars and cleaning bars and just making sure everything's good to go on that last weekend. So I'm hoping to have a good weekend that weekend, because, like I say, we've been the fastest car in the main event. When I look on my race pass and I look at my times and everything, we just haven't had the results to show it, but I know we're fast. So that's a positive going into the last weekend for sure.
Well, and with the Desert Wing 360 deal, you got 3rd in points, and that's kind of a fun deal in which it spent some time at Votto, but you guys also got to run up at Aztec for a pair of weekends. So a little bit of traveling up and down the corridor there, and seeing a racetrack that is almost to what would that be? Almost to the Four Corners.
Exactly. Yeah, it's right up there in the Four Corners area. And on the POWRi deal, actually me and Gary Gwynn are the two that are in on that series. Being a racer and being part of the series, I can't really run it since I'm out there on the racetrack and stuff, but him and I are the ones who came up with that deal. And actually Chad Timsky, him and his dad used to run Aztec Speedway. So it was originally me, Chad, and Gary that started the POWRi series down here. And since then, because this was our 3rd year, and Chad, he kind of got out of it for the most part. His daughter's getting a little older, and he does the go-kart stuff with his daughter and stuff like that. So I totally understand that. And then, it's me and Gary who run that series. I'm more of, if something comes up, him and I will talk about it, or, have discussions on what we think is good for the series and stuff like that, or I help try to go get series sponsors and stuff. But Gary Gwynn is the one who, during the races, he takes care of all the lineups and, the stuff to make sure, people ain't cheating on the starts, or he does all the teching after the main event and stuff like that. So, excuse me. That series has been good. It's been a little tough 3 years. And I guess the reason I say that is just because, going into it, we had like 14 or 16 races scheduled, and then COVID was still kind of around that first year, and some races in Arizona just fell through and didn't happen. So I think we only got to run like 10 races that first year, and which they're all 2-day races. When we started this series, we said that, we kind of wanted to try to run once a month, just so we wouldn't be cramming races down everybody's throat every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we designed that to where we race once a month, and they're going to be 2-day shows, all of them 2-day shows. To, just the guys have to travel. It makes it worth their while to travel. So that's why we did that. And then last year wasn't bad. I think we had 12 races, which again, we were supposed to have some races at other tracks, and they just didn't happen. And then this year, we were really looking forward to this year because there was a guy, him and his brother, that were going to get Tucson. They thought that they were going to get Tucson Raceway back open and going again. And we were supposed to have 3 races down there. And then there was another track there in Arizona that we were supposed to have a couple races at, and it just didn't work out. And then the deal with Tucson didn't work out for those guys as far as leasing it. So yeah, that cut us down to 8 races, and that's all we had. But I mean, all 8 races were great races. Aztec was good, and Votto was good, and so we've already been in talks with Votto this year as far as next year goes with the 360 deal, and we're hoping to get 4 races at Votto, and potentially 2 of those would be, because I know I talked to Mike Garcia from Votto, and he wants to get possibly 2 weekends with the World of Outlaws.
Okay.
So when the World of Outlaws come out here early in the season, he wants them then. And then, the World of Outlaws, they make their West Coast swing late in the year, whatever it is, in September.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to get them then also. So he said, he goes, I want you guys as the World of Outlaws support class. And I was like, great, that'd be awesome. So hopefully that goes through. And then we'll have our 2 normal dates at Votto, which is Labor Day weekend and Memorial weekend. So hoping to get that deal done. And then I know Gary talked to Eric Garcia from Aztec Speedway just the other day, like on Thursday or Friday, and he acted like he wants us up there 3 times next year.
Okay.
So that'll be good. And then gonna try to talk to Lubbock and Amarillo and see if we can get some kind of deal done with them, because Lubbock and Amarillo, both those tracks they're pretty good tracks. So hopefully next year will be a lot more races with the POWRi 360 deal, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, and those tracks you mentioned, kind of the North Texas, Central Texas area, definitely have some upcoming talent. I mean, Brenham Crouch, the IRA champion from Lubbock, and Brexton, who runs in the 305s there, and John Carney the second, from that area as well. Super, rich area that I think kind of gets slept on a little bit, unfortunately. But I think bringing your series with 360s will definitely enhance that, and that'll be super cool.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like you said, with Brenham and John Carney and those guys, I mean, they're really good and they're super fast. And just hoping to get, like I say, those 2 tracks on board. If we can do that, it'd be great. We got to go to Amarillo last year, and when we were there, the stands were packed. I mean, the guys that were running the track last year, they even told us, they said, wow, we've never had a crowd, which Amarillo always gets a good crowd. But when we were there last year, they said it was almost sold out, and it was like 4,000 people, I thought they said.
Wow.
So it went really well. But another guy came in this year, and he took over the track, and I tried to get him to schedule us this year, but, you know, he was new at it, and he's like, I don't know if I want to do a 2-day race with sprint cars, and he goes, this is my first year, and I don't want to get in over my head. So, yeah. So hopefully, like I say, next year, we're really looking forward to next year. I want to have, you know, I want to shoot for about 14 to 16 races next year is my goal.
Sure.
So hopefully we can get it done.
Well, and keeping it a quote unquote working man series, you know, to where you guys aren't overcommitted, or where there's a ton of, I guess you could say, fixture congestions, where one weekend you're at Votto in the south of the state, then the next weekend at Aztec, then the next weekend you're back at the south of the state, kind of like a yo-yo for 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you're way up at the Four Corners area one time, and then you could be down at the bottom of Votto, you know, New Mexico at Votto, and then possibly in Texas. So yeah, like I say, that's why we want to do that. Try to keep it at once a month, and fuel right now, I mean, everybody knows this, it's expensive just to go down the road, you know what I mean? Let alone to house a race car. So, I mean, gosh, it's tough right now, and it's tough for everybody. So, yeah, hopefully, you know, fuel will continue to, well, I don't know if it's coming down yet. Probably not, but fuel definitely needs to come down. The cost of tires need to come down. But yeah, it's tough right now, and it shows. I mean, you can look almost on any website or whatever you want, and car counts are down right now. And I mean, that's probably why, you know what I mean? Just the general cost of living and everything. It's hard right now, and it makes it hard on racing, but hopefully it gets better.
Yes, most definitely. And going back to something you mentioned is being sort of the companion division for the World of Outlaws. That, I think, is going to be big for this Desert Wing Sprint Series. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball about anything, but what I think so cool about that is exposure. Obviously, the exposure that you get on Dirt Vision of people watching and seeing that. But what I think is cool is you'll get the exposure of folks in the stands, male, female, doesn't matter, of aspiring drivers like, you know what, this is something that I want to do, and I think I want to find a way how I could do it, thus growing the class. You know, it's kind of a showcase weekend, so to speak. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I'm totally looking forward to it. Fingers crossed. I'd love to be the support class for, you know, the World of Outlaws, because I'm going down there anyway to go watch them, so I might as well be there to go race as well. You know what I mean? So, and you're right. I mean, the exposure with, you know, being on TV with those guys would be great. So I hope it works out. I really do.
Well, no doubt, with all the travel you have to do to the north of the state, south of the state, it takes a great core of people and a great core of sponsors. Are there any specific individuals or marketing partners you want to send a shout out to real fast?
Yeah, you know, Royal Jones, he helps me out a lot with Mesilla Valley Transportation, and I mean, everybody knows that, you know, that guy helps out a lot of people. He's a really, really great guy. And then I got Chuck Jackson. As a matter of fact, he raced with us. Well, he's been with my dad since 1987. He's helped my dad out, and he's helped me out along my way. Chuck Jackson with Jackson Compaction. And this last Saturday was his last race. He says that was his last race, and he's done. And as a matter of fact, he's really, really great guy. There's a younger guy down there in Votto, and I guess I don't know him personally, but I guess he came up through the stock cars, and then this year he's been in a B mod or X mod, whatever they want to call him, B mod, I think. And he's done really good in those. And Chuck saw, you know, the kid has talent. I call him a kid because he's probably a lot younger than me, but he's got some promise to him. And Chuck just said, he goes, you know what? I want you to take my car, take my trailer, and here you go. It's all yours, you know. So, I mean, gosh, how often does that happen where somebody says, here, just take my stuff and run it, and it's all yours, have it, take
Sure.
it. So, I mean, Chuck's really great guy as far as, everything with him, you know what I mean? Not just that, but everything. So, like I say, Chuck Jackson with Jackson Paction, he helps out a lot of people and been with me and my dad forever. And I really thank him a lot. And then my engine builder, Todd Budlong with Budlong Racing Engines, he helped. Gosh, he's been helping me for, I want to say about 15 years or so, maybe 20. He helps me out a lot. So like I say, thank you, Todd, and really appreciate it. And then I got Kyle Newman in Phoenix, Arizona. He's still been with me with soldfast.com. He's a realtor, and so he helps me out a lot. And yeah, I want to thank him. And yeah, without those guys, I mean, gosh, couldn't do it. They really helped me out a lot. So I really thank them.
Well, that's absolutely awesome. That's totally cool. And for people that want to see your upcoming schedule or upcoming results, or maybe you have some apparel for sale, is there a good web page or a Facebook page or a Instagram page that people can kind of go to look that information up?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page, Jesse Baker Racing, and they can go on there, check it out, and see. I try to keep up with that as much as I can. I'm not a tech person per se, where I get on my phone and update every little thing that I'm doing, but I try to. So yeah, they can get on there and check it out. As a matter of fact, I just got my new shirts in today. They're great. They're beautiful race shirts. So I love them. And yeah, get on there and check it out. I'll probably post pictures here in just a little while. Actually, I haven't had a chance to yet because I've been at work all day. But yeah, get on there, check it out, and see how we're doing.
Awesome. That's totally cool. And then for the Desert Wing 360 group, is there a good page for that where people can find out information?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's the Facebook page that Gary and his wife have set up. I think it's sorry, I was trying to look it up just now. I think it's POWRi Desert 360 Wing Sprint Car Series.
Okay.
Gary and his wife do a really good job as far as keeping that updated. So yeah, always, check it out. Hopefully we'll have some news here within a month and a half of our next year's schedule and stuff like that. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. It's always updated. Like I said, Gary and his wife Jessica do a really good job as far as keeping that going. So really appreciate them as well.
Totally cool. Well, it's been great getting to know you, Jesse, and I can't wait to check in on you for 2024 and see how things are rolling. Hopefully they're all rolling in a positive direction.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm already looking forward to 2024. Like I said, I think we got some big things coming up, and really looking forward to it. So thank you for interviewing me, and yeah.
Well, that is going to do it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure and hit the like and subscribe button on whatever platform you found this interview at. It really helps us grow the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, we'll be back with more content and interviews in the future. Be sure and have a great evening or a great rest of your day, whatever time you're listening.